Now, finally, I have a skill called distracting. Now, you may be shocked that I would have this skill again. Not very long ago, I told you to pay attention to your emotions in mindfulness, current emotions. The facts of the matter are, though, you don't have to pay attention to your emotions all the time. You've got to be able to pay attention to your emotions. That's incredibly important. But there are also times when you've got to distract from your emotion. Particularly, you have to distract from your emotions when now's not the time to process your emotions. So an example might be you're at work and you have a really big presentation to your boss that you have to give in 1/2 hour. And then you get a call from your husband who tells you some terrible thing your child has just done. He's managing it so you don't have to go save your child. But man, you would really like to work on that right this minute. Is this a good time? No. So you're going to have to distract in order to do something else that's very important. This happens to all of us a lot, okay? So it's really important to be able to distract, particularly when there's nothing you can do about a problem right this minute. That's the basic time to distract. So on your screen, there's a whole list of fabulous ways to distract. First one is with activities. It's by doing something that gets your mind off something else. One of the most popular ones in the United States, at least, is watching television, for example. Another one is with contributing. It's like going out and helping other people. That's a good thing to do, particularly if you're alone a lot and there's no one to come visit you. Well, you could sit home, mope, be sad, grieve, feel lonely, or you could go and contribute somewhere else, do some volunteer work, do something like that. Now, the next one is one that about half of the people I teach it to hate it with a passion and the other half like it, okay? And this is where you distract with comparisons. But you can often also think about your own life when it's really painful. You can feel better simply by thinking about all the things that you do have that perhaps it would be possible not to have. So this is when you compare what's going on in your life with what either could be going on in your life, what's going on with other people who are much more disadvantaged than you. Another thing you can do is try to change one emotion by starting another emotion. So for example, let's say you're sad. You could watch either humorous TV, you could watch comedies and replace sadness with laughing and happiness, or you could replace sadness with fear by watching horror movies, okay? So there are a lot of different ways to generate one emotion to replace another emotion. You can also do that by reading emotional books. That will change your emotion, okay? Now, another one that you can do that some people find effective and some people absolutely can't do is when you try to push away an emotion. So this is one where what you do, it's like you try to imagine there's a wall around you, okay? And you imagine that inside the wall, that emotion doesn't exist. So you just push it away, all right? So that's building an imaginary wall or pushing a situation away by leaving it for a while. All right. Now, what's the next one? You can distract by distracting with thoughts, okay? So this is one where you count. I once went to a funeral, for example. I was so distraught about the person who died, but as it turned out, no one else was crying at all at the funeral. And I did not want to be the only person to cry, but I thought I was going to cry because I was so sad. In fact, I thought I was going to sob out loud. So what did I do? I looked at the walls, and they had a whole bunch of beams in the walls. I counted every single one of them. I spent the whole funeral counting things. It worked, though. I got my sadness and grief to go down. And I experienced the sadness and grief at another time, which was a more appropriate time. Now, the other thing you can do is just find things to do that distract you. I have one client that I work with, and she uses puzzles all the time. She gets all those kind of puzzles where you work on them so that you can find an activity to do that you enjoy. Don't get one you don't enjoy, but one that you enjoy and work on that. And another thing that you can do, and a lot of people do this when I teach skills to my adolescents, we bring in all sorts of things for them to do with their hands and things like that. So rubber balls to squeeze and ice to hold in your hands. And so the idea is to give yourself a sense of other sensations and then focus your mind on those sensations. So what this is the skill of distracting. Distracting is important, don't forget, when it's ineffective for you to be experiencing an intense emotion because you've got something else that you have to do at that time. The key here is don't always distract. If you do distract from an important emotion, you have to remember you're going to need to experience that emotion at some point. So the idea is not to get rid of emotions, but in effect to put them off to another day. So practice distracting. It's a great strategy.